first grade. This is your phonics lesson for the first skill. We're in Unit 5, Week 5, and the story of the week is called Alexander Graham Bell. And this lesson is going to help you with page 163. You'll know you have the right page because it says Alexander Graham Bell at the top, and it has a picture of a saw or an automobile on the front so that you can learn to practice those sounds using words like that and spelled like that. So let's look at our sound spelling card for this week. Our sound spelling card has a picture of an audience because we're going to practice the sound ah. Now, ah is found in the short vowel O sound in octopus or hot. Can you say ah 3 times? Let me show you another way that we can spell that sound ah that you've already practiced. You've practiced AL before, like in the word ball. And you've practiced AL before, like in the word walk. And remember when this word was a sight word and you had to spell it on your test? Always. AL is a sound spelling for ah that you've already practiced. Okay, that's review for you. But let's talk about how you're going to learn to use the ah sound spelled differently this week. So this week when we spell, we're going to use AU and AW. A and U are vowels, so I could call that a vowel team or a vowel pair. AU says the sound ah. AW, it's not a vowel pair. W is not a vowel. 2 letters that make the sound ah. So 2 different ways to spell the sound ah. Look at our sound spelling card. It's a lot of ways that we can spell the sound ah. You can use it with just an A. You can use it with an AL. We just reviewed how to use the AL sound spelling. And then remember what I do the red dots for to remind me to tell you something special. AW and AU are the sound spelling for this week when you practice reading your words for your spelling lists and your stories this week. You're going to be practicing the AU and the AW sound spelling. All right, well, let's practice some words now. I'm going to remove this board and I'm going to put up the chart that I use for reading practice. Do you guys see Clyde back there? Okay, so I made a T-chart this time. I love T-charts because they help me sort. And I have AW on this side and AU on this side. Now, what sound does AW and AU make? Ah. Let's say it again. Let's say it 3 times together. Ready? Ah, ah, ah. Okay, let's start with the AW sound spelling. And some of these words are easy, and some words need to be defined. That means I'm going to tell you what the word means. Because when we read a word, we also need to know what it means, because we read to understand. So we want to understand word meanings. The first word, draw. You've had that as a spelling word before also. And this one rhymes with draw. Did you read it? Claw. And I could stretch out all my sounds. Claw. Next word. Can you read it to yourself and can you act it out? Yawn. That's a yawn. Here's another sound spelling with AW, but it's a beginning sound instead of at the end or in the middle. Did you read it yet? Awful. Spinach to me tastes awful. You might like it, but there's probably something that tastes awful to you. In fact, if you're in my class, remember that food that I don't like and I think it tastes awful? Pickles. Pickles taste awful to me. Maybe not to you though. Next word. I chose this one because we're learning about animals, and this is a baby animal. Fawn. Did you read it? Fawn. A fawn is what we call a baby deer. And here's another animal word. Hawk. A hawk is a big, strong bird, kind of like an eagle. A predator. And the last one, we use this word a lot in first grade. Awesome. What are you awesome at? When you're awesome, that means you're really good at something. All right, let's move to the other side. AU. The first one, I used an uppercase A when I spelled it because it's a proper noun. Did you read it? August. Some of you have birthdays in August. When August comes around, you'll be in second grade. And the next one, launch. Launch. What do rocket ships do? To get into space, they launch. The next word, hall. Not the hall when I say, oh, quiet hallway. Not the hall in a store or a restaurant or a hotel. This one means to carry something heavy or to pull it. Hall. And the next one, did you read it yet? Fault. It's not my fault. The glass broke. Fault. And the next word, I use an uppercase letter. That means it's going to be a proper noun and it's somebody's name. Can you read it? Paul. Actually, we have a student in our class whose name ends with that. So her last name is Paulson. Are you there, Emily? And the last word, did you read it? Caught. Caught. He caught a fish. Okay, now I did something a little different this time. Instead of having more words to read, I created some sentences. So we'll practice our sound spelling in sentences. Now at the top, I just remind you what we're doing. A-U and A-W make the sound ah. And when I put 3 dots after a word, it means something more is coming. A-U and A-W make the sound ah. Say ah again. All right, here's my sentences. And I use my red letter strategy. Those are the important words. Here's our first sentence. Can you read it? Now I'll read it. I see a fawn on the lawn. Fawn and lawn rhyme. They have the same ending. Here's the next one. You read it first. Did you read it? Let's check. I'll read it now and I'll check and see. You can check and see if you got it right. Paul hauls the vault. Now, did that sentence make sense to you? If it didn't, stop and try to figure it out. Let me explain what haul means again, to pick up something heavy. How about this word vault? Did you understand that word? A vault is a heavy safe, something you can put something in for safekeeping, and it has a lock on it. So a vault is a big safe. You might have seen one in a movie before where they go and they put their treasure in a vault. Okay, here's the next sentence. It starts right here. You read it, then I'll read it. Did you get that? Now I'll read it. There is a flaw in the law. If you don't know what that means, stop and ask. Flaw. What is flaw? A flaw means a mistake or something wrong. And then what is law? Well, laws are rules. And I got this sentence from the teacher book. So let's figure out what it means together. There is a flaw in the law. A flaw means something that's not quite right. And law means rule. So sometimes rules are made and they don't make sense, or there's a problem with it and it needs to be corrected. There is a flaw in the law. All right, last one. You read it first. Compound word. Look at your red letter word. It uses our sound spelling and then it has an ending, a word ending. Let's read it together now. compound word, Disneyland has a haunted house. Haunted is your red letter word. I wonder if you've ever been to Disneyland and if you were brave enough to go into the haunted house. I was scared when I was in first grade, but they actually make it kind of silly. And there's no such thing as a haunted house, so you don't have to be worried about that. Okay, friends, remember this week, your sound spelling for your first skill is AU and AW, and they make the sound ah. The next video I have will be the second skill for this week. See you later.